All right, let's get this thing popping. Big news in the NFL. Daniel Snyder, the beleaguered owner of the Washington Commanders,
That's the
Rob.
right
Big
word. That's
news
the right
today.
word.
Yes. He and his wife have hired Bank of America. They didn't admit that it, or say that it is to find a new buyer for the team, but that is what most people are taking from this. Rob G, give us a summary of all that's going on with Daniel Snyder, and then Rob and I'll get into
Chris,
this.
how much time do you have? I mean,
Oh, wow.
that's the
No,
problem.
right?
Most recently, this broke just before our show went on the air. They are being investigated, the Washington Commanders, specifically the Snyders, by the feds for improper use of finances. And this goes back to something that we talked about a few months ago, where
With the season ticket
season
money,
ticket
right?
holder money and parking money and stadium money that they were withholding, or according to one allegation, having an entire second set of finance books to keep away from the other owners, because you have to share that kind of revenue.
What are they in the
with
movie
the rest
business?
Of the owners.
What is this? You got
Right.
two sets of books?
So you got that going on. You have the obviously the sexual misconduct allegations that went on, workplace conduct, going on with Daniel Snyder and the way he was talking to employees, specifically female
And remember,
employees.
in 2009, he settled?
You had that settlement.
With
So
a
it's a
female.
laundry list. I mean, you could really do an entire Wikipedia of all the things going on. As far as I know, there are currently, now you don't quote me on this, but I believe that there are 4 current investigations going on into the Washington Commanders right now.
Wow.
And
Well, Rob?
Yep. And what I'll say, Chris, is I told you so. And I don't mean you, I mean in general. Once Robert Irsay said what he said publicly, I knew this was the beginning of the end. And he ain't taking the commissioner out with him. And he ain't taking no other owners out and all the dirt and all the other stories that came out. He's going out with a whimper. He's not fighting. He's not going to fight. And he'd rather them not put up a vote and just sell, because enough of them have probably told him, we're going to vote you out. So if you want to make it ugly and go that route, we could do that. Or you can take your money and your profit you're going to make by selling this Washington football franchise, Chris, and go quietly. And it looks like that's the route he's going to take, which is the smart route. You don't want to be in some costly and litigation, and you're putting out all kinds of stuff. Once they go public and say, yeah, he's wounded, yeah, it looks like there's a case for him to be stripped of his team,
Right.
or to his team. Once they say that publicly, Chris, it's a wrap. Because they never do that to each other. And we talked about it. They never even ripped Donald Sterling.
Right.
I don't remember the owners doing that. They don't do that.
We both felt that way because, as you said, and look, Snyder's an owner that was not liked.
He wasn't.
Okay.
He definitely wasn't one of their.
Yeah,
favorites.
he wasn't. Exactly. And so you would have heard stuff coming out over the years if it was just about disliking him. But when it moved toward, it's time to move on and get him out of here, that's when Irsay went public.
Yep.
And so I'm with you there. And look, Rob, something that I was stating, it bothered not only me, but a lot of people, and other people talked about on the air as well. With the Deshaun Watson situation, to see them basically give a Daniel Snyder a slap on the wrist, that was bothersome. Not that he should get worse than Deshaun, the punishment should fit the quote unquote crime. But Daniel Snyder settled with the woman over sexual assault for Rob G, I believe it was 1.6 million, roughly $1.5 million. And he was able to go on and nothing happened. And so myself and others were just asking that you treat the owners like you would treat the players. In fact, Rob, you according to the NFL bylaws or the collective bargaining agreement, they hold owners to a higher standard. And so that didn't seem to be getting done. And so I'm glad that that's really this is a sign of that if indeed that's what's behind this Snyder story. And so I'm glad to see that they're going to hold the owners to their CBA, and which just says they're going to hold them to a higher standard than the players.
Well, I think we saw that with Richardson. I think we had.
Well, that was odd because Richardson, at least from what I remember reading, right, he didn't do near. Not that he was,
No,
it was okay
but he
what
didn't.
but
He
it wasn't
go,
nearly as much as Snyder.
But he had more invested in this, Chris. He was a player in the NFL, the first who ever owned a team. This was his whole life, and he went out without making. I don't even remember even hearing anything from him. To be honest, I don't.
You mean when he was forced to sell?
Yeah, when he was forced to sell. I don't remember. And Rob G, maybe I'm wrong.
I think it's like you say, Rob. Sometimes they may have more on you, and I don't know if this was the case with him, but you know what I mean. It's like, look, just go quietly.
Right, don't make a scene. Right, because we will expose you if you do it.
Right,
and that's why I never bought into even Snyder's thing about he was going to bring the league down and all that.
Well, that's
and he had that.
interesting, Rob.
I never bought into that, Chris, and I said it at the time. Dude, if you have something or you really want to do that, you would do it. You don't threaten that's what you have. If that's what your goal is.
I wonder, and I didn't think he'd bring the league down, but I did believe the story that he had stuff on other owners. But it doesn't seem like he does. And so isn't it interesting? How do you think that got out? Why do you think that got out? You think he was just trying to bluff, trying to call off the dog, so to speak, as far as other owners coming after him, or what? That was interesting. And look, maybe he does. I don't know, but he's, but I'm just saying it seems like he really didn't have any of that stuff that story purported.
You know this about people and in life, right? There are two kinds of guys who are fighters, right? There's the guy who walks up to you, who punches you in the face and doesn't tell you why he's punching. Yeah, like touche. But you know what I'm saying. There's that guy, and there's the guy who keeps saying he's going to punch you in the face, and that, you know what I mean. Like he's saying it. Yeah, go ahead, right. Keep it up. I'm gonna punch you in the face. And the other guy just walks up to you and punches you in the face. And if he really had stuff where he was going to expose Goodell and some owners or whatever, man, that stuff would have been leaked out. He's had stuff leaked out against him. Chris, that stuff could have been leaked out to investigative reporters for the New York Times, the Wall Street Journal. Like that could have easily been done. And it wasn't done, and you didn't even have to know it came from him. Do you know what I mean? Like that's how you go call the New York Times and say, "Oh yeah, hey, I got this and I got that, and I can back it up, and here's my proof, and here's this." Dude, are you kidding? Just like they had the stories about John Gruden, and they had the goods, they would have written an investigative piece.
Right. Yeah. So it looks like the Commanders will be under new ownership, and Rob, beyond all of the just toxic environment, let's put it that way, that was created. Because remember, there were women, Rob, that said they were sexually harassed hundreds of times. Hundreds. They said every day, basically. Every day. Okay? And so there was a toxic work environment there. But beyond that, it just, he didn't do a good job as an owner. I mean, just football-wise. Right? The Redskins, or not the Redskins, the Commanders, right, they used to be a great franchise.
They had a 20-year waiting list. You couldn't get tickets in D.C., Chris. Everything stopped on Sundays in D.C. for them. Yeah. Okay? They were that big. Yep. And a lot of the people who are listening to this show, they don't remember that.
No.
Chris, they have no recollection.
Well, their last Super Bowl, Rob, was 1991.
Wow.
And in the 10-year period between 82 and 91, they won 3 Super Bowls and went to 4. So that's how good they were. So, yeah, I mean, they've fallen off under Daniel Snyder. They make the playoffs every blue moon. But they've been there like once in almost the last decade.
It's
maybe
been
twice
bad.
in the last decade.
And, Chris, even that new stadium that they built in Maryland FedEx, I think it's FedEx Field or whatever.
Yeah.
They had to cover up seats because they couldn't sell out. And then back then, before they lifted the blackout, you remember, if you didn't sell 90% of your seats, your games weren't on locally.
And remember, the players, the field is so bad, the players have complained about tearing ACLs there. That's just cheap.
Right.
That's just you cutting corners because you don't want to spend this money. Then don't own a team. You're owning an NFL, NBA, Major League Baseball team to win for the cachet. You're not doing it for money. A lot of them don't make money on a yearly basis. You make money on your appreciation.
Yep. And when you cash out.
Right. And he's going to make money. So don't feel sorry for him.
He's going to make a lot of money.
Oh, my gosh, he's going to make a ton of money. So don't feel cry any tears for him.